Today, let's talk about the world of electric vehicles, since it's clear that the industry is shifting towards electric power. And you may be tinkering with the idea of owning an electric vehicle, but want to understand the benefits and the challenges of owning an EV. So let's get started. Hi, my name is Oleg and I bought a 2021 Tesla Model Y in May of 2021. This is my first electric vehicle, aka EV, and I've put about 30,000 miles on it so far. I've driven it through various seasons, taken it to a few road trips, and even towed things with it. I'd like to share my decision-making process during my search for my first EV, and maybe that can help you decide what EV to buy this year. In this video, I'll cover topics like practicality, fun, hidden costs, things I wish this car had, and things I wish I knew before buying the EV. It may sound like I'm trying to convince you to buy a Tesla, but I'm more setting the foundation where to start your research from. Everyone has different wants and needs. Tesla may not meet your needs. Just want to be clear before we dive in. So these were my requirements. I needed a car that can seat 7 people. My wife and I have 3 kids, and sometimes my mom and my aunt visit. We needed something that can seat all of us comfortably, and we can just take one car. So this car needed to be practical with seating people and have enough storage for any knick-knack paddywhacks. I also wanted something that was quick and fun to drive. And nice to have was something that had a premium feel to it, quiet, and a cool factor, and preferably loads of new tech and convenience. A little too picky, I know, but I'm a consumer and I can have what I want. When I started my research for a 7-seater SUV crossover, I noticed that most of the ones that had checked the boxes of my requirements fell between $50,000 and $70,000 range. I got curious about the Tesla because I read somewhere that the Model Y was supposed to be a bit more affordable, and I was floored when I saw that they had a 7-seater option that fell within the price range. I was sold. I immediately rented the Model Y through Turo. It's an app that lets you rent the car. I drove it for the weekend to see how I like it, how it fits our needs, and after a week I went down my checklist again and I started writing out all the features that Tesla had compared to other cars in that price range. So, practicality, 7-seater, check. 4-wheel drive with towing ability of 3,500 pounds, check. Side note, tow hitch is an extra cost. Loads of storage with a frunk that can actually store things. Super convenient for big families, especially when the whole family is going on a beach or a picnic somewhere. Because of the 3rd row seat, you lose some of the space in the trunk, so the frunk becomes super important for all those knickknacks. I'm not sure why so many EVs either don't offer a frunk at all or only make them big enough to fit a wallet in them. I understand it's likely a cost-cutting thing, or the companies developing new cars are thinking, well, people didn't have storage in the regular car before, so they won't miss having a frunk. I think it's a huge missed opportunity. For my next car, I'll definitely always be looking for that feature. Once you have a frunk, you can't go back. Long-winded, this car has loads of storage space. Check. My favorite part, and maybe this is stupid to others, door pillars so thick. You can really rest your arm on it without it slipping like other cars. I love it. USB-C ports all over the place, sweet. 3rd and 2nd row seats fold completely down, provide enormous space for those IKEA runs, although they don't come up automatically, which sucks. Heated front and rear seats with the steering wheel. You can defrost your car in the winter or cool your car in the summertime through the app. Super practical, check. Low maintenance, no engine oil, fuel lines, or transmission oils to worry about. This car also gets over-the-air updates. So what that means is that you get improvements like gas mileage improvement, improve the look and feel of the UI or the interface. It's no longer an exclusive feature that Tesla has. Other manufacturers offer it too, but it's just super practical feature to have that your car is improving over the lifetime of ownership. When it comes to warranty, the warranty is up to 120,000 miles on battery and drive unit. Basic vehicle warranty is up to 50,000 miles, so pretty good, check. This may not belong here as far as practicality of the car, but not having to deal with the dealership and negotiating prices, major check. Now, the most important topic, gas savings. When I first went to Supercharger, I charged the car from 20% to 80%, and I only paid $17. That would have been at least $50 or $60 on any comparable gas car. Again, I'm listing out things that Tesla does so you have things to compare it to while you're picking out your next electric vehicle. I highly recommend creating your own list of must-haves and nice-to-haves that are important to you. So when it comes to practicality, Tesla is a winner. One loss would probably be around the amount of time to recharge. Going from 20% to 80% took me about 25 to 30 minutes on a level 3 charger, supercharger, versus like less than 10 minutes to get your full tank of gas at a gas station. The other loss will be around the door handles. They're not intuitive and they get stuck when it gets cold outside. I needed to use a hair dryer to get them unstuck this winter. There also been an update around this problem, so that I fixed it, but still a bit annoying to deal with in the cold winter months. After my practical list, then I started listing out the fun aspect of this car. New electric vehicles are powerful and have a ton of torque. Tesla is no exception. Tesla Model Y dual motor can go from 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds for a 4,400 pound car. You may also upgrade the car through the app to go from 4.8 seconds to 4.2 seconds for a cool $2,000, if somehow those 0.6 seconds are important to you. Having a four-wheel drive with instant torque feels like a spaceship taking off. Plus, when you punch it, it makes no sound. Your neighbors are happy and you're not attracting attention from the police when you're punching it. I highly recommend renting this car or taking it for a test ride from Tesla to experience the torque that comes with the long-range version. We're not even talking about the Performance Edition. The Performance Edition goes from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, which is insane. Plus, when you drive this car, it just feels lighter than it is. It's a heavy car, but it just feels lighter. So that's the fun with driving the car. Then there's just silly fun you can have with the car, like changing the horn to say, "Why I never."
Well, I never.
Doing a light show and annoying your neighbors. Also, my favorite thing is that when you're backing up, the car sounds like it's a UFO taking off. You can also set up a whoopee cushion to go off when somebody sits down on a certain seat. The kids love it. You can play video games, map your car to look like you're on Mars, make beats, just silly fun. This car wins hands down the fun factor. This car has a ton of tech. Unfortunately, no CarPlay or Android Auto. Side note, as soon as a new 7-seater SUV comes out with a decently spaced front that offers CarPlay, I'm switching. That's my biggest gripe with Tesla and Rivian. Why make your own UI? I'll tell you why. They love charging you a monthly subscription cost. Okay, Oli, calm down. Let's cover that in the hidden cost part of the video. This car has a giant tablet in the center. A lot of folks complain that there's no buttons or everything has to be done through the big screen. Honestly, I got used to it pretty quickly. If you're concerned about taking your eyes off the road, you can just speak your command you want to control and everything works every time. Turn on wipers. This car has tons of cameras that record things on every trip. You can even set up a trigger where when you honk the horn, it will save the footage to USB drives that comes with it in case you need the footage to file a police report. Why so many cameras? These cameras are like eyes for the car. When it's engaged in self-driving or autopilot, it needs to see all around it. We'll get to that in a second. My favorite feature is called Sentry Mode, basically surveillance mode, where the car records everything around it while you're away from it. And also when somebody gets too close to the car, it flashes the light, making it look like somebody unlocked the car nearby. If someone hits your car, it will trigger an event that will notify your phone where you'll be able to see in the live through the app what's happening near your car, and you can even speak to the car and it sounds like a Robocop voice. Step away from the vehicle. Basically, it's like a Ring doorbell, only in the car. Another cool feature is your phone is your key, and your physical key is this credit card. I love this feature. Tesla app controls a lot of things on the car. If your car is ever stolen, you can see it where it is. You can cool, heat, defrost the car through the app. You can schedule your car to be at 70 degrees temperature at 7:30 a.m. every morning, and you'll be notified when your cabin is at your perfect temperature. Super convenient for those cold or hot days. Same applies to charging. You can plug in your car at night, but you can set up your charging to begin at 12 a.m. at night to take advantage of those off-peak charging hours. You can schedule your service calls through the app as well, and for some service calls, they come to you. I had my tire rotation done at home while I was working. Super convenient. Okay, now let's chat about Autopilot. It's definitely convenient on long road trips, but sometimes it can be scary. First, Autopilot is not full self-driving mode. That costs an additional $15,000, which you can also upgrade through the app later once you decide you do want it. I decided against it because it's a feature that's not ready for everyday use. I'll link a few videos in the description of people's experiences using self-driving. Spoiler, it's not great. Plus, I don't believe in paying for something that's consuming my data. Basically all the corrections I make while I'm driving the car in self-driving mode goes back to be analyzed and make self-driving algorithm better. If that product is not ready, it should be free so you can have as much data to collect as possible to make it better. I digress. So Autopilot, it's like cruise control on steroids. It stays in one lane, it does not support changing lanes, and it has to be on the highway. It has adaptive cruise control, basically making sure to keep your distance from the car in front of you. And the reason why I said it was scary earlier is because when I tried it the first time on a highway back in 2021, it slowed down aggressively out of nowhere, aka phantom braking. because the truck was passing by us. Another time, it slowed down out of nowhere again because the road changed colors. There was an older paved road on top of the freshly paved road, and it got scared. There were no other cars around us, luckily, but that scared me from using it too often. But after a couple over-the-air updates, it stopped doing that. The autopilot system is definitely cool and convenient, and it improved significantly over time. But I recommend still being paranoid when it's engaged. Tesla Autopilot sort of reminds me of that big robot in RoboCop that got challenged by a pair of stairs. It's a robot. It needs time to learn. Now, self-driving mode is exactly what it sounds like. It's a feature that will drive you on the regular roads from point A to point B without your input or minimal input, since it's still not perfect yet. I don't think it's worth it. Now, regarding creature comforts, the seats are nice and comfy. It's made with vegan leather, if that matters to you. The front and second row seats are heated along with the steering wheel, as I mentioned before, but it's not ventilated. There's rumors that ventilated seats may be coming in the future. Right now, only Model S and X have ventilated seats. The cabin is pretty quiet as well. You get double pane glass. It keeps the noise to a minimum. The interior is very simplistic, but it does have a premium feel to it. And with that premium car, however, comes some hate. People scratch Teslas for some reason. There have been a lot of cases of it. They've all been recorded, luckily, by all the cameras around the car. And then for some reason, fast SUVs like Mercedes-AMGs, BMW M packages want to see how fast Teslas are, and they're always angrily tailgating you to find out how quick Teslas are. Just something to note when you're picking out your next EV. If you pick a Tesla, expect these things. Now let's talk about some hidden costs. If you have a garage and want to charge your car overnight, then the first hidden cost will be upgrading your outlet to a 240 volt system, aka level 2 charging, which can cost anywhere from $500 to $900 depending on where you live and your garage configuration. If you don't do this upgrade and use a regular outlet, aka level 1 charging, to charge a car, it will take 2 to 3 days to charge a car to 80%. I tried using a regular outlet, but the charging speed was way too slow. Additional costs on top of this is that once you upgrade your outlet, you also have to buy a 240 volt adapter, which I bought on eBay for $65. Why eBay? That's because they were all sold out on the Tesla site, but they cost about $35 to $45. If you decide to go with a different manufacturer, ask them if they provide a 240 volt adapter on how much it costs. This is an important step before you bring your electric car home, unless you have time to charge your car for a longer period than a day. Side note, I would not recommend parking your EV in the garage because there have been a few battery fires reported that had happened so far. I'll link a video that talks about EV fires and how often they happen compared to gas cars. Spoiler, way less often. This cost is more specific to Tesla, but another hidden cost is the monthly subscription to the internet service. Because I bought my car in 2021, they still offer the first year of internet for free. Now you must pay $9.99 a month for internet access. If you don't, you won't have access to Hulu, Netflix, Spotify, basically all the streaming entertainment. Plus, you won't have the ability to live view through Sentry Mode. The only thing that will work for you if you don't sign up for the internet service will be the Google navigation system, which is really. Double check with your car manufacturers if there's any hidden subscriptions costs you need to consider when picking out your car, because a BMW apparently charges a monthly subscription fee for heated seats. What is this infrastructure thing? One major item you should know and consider before buying an electric vehicle is the infrastructure around your area. Tesla has the infrastructure that's available now, not sometime in the future, now. Meaning you can take a road trip today and it'll show you where your charging stations are along the way, how many stalls are available, and they just work every single time. Which is what, in my opinion, put Tesla ahead of other manufacturers. MKBHD did a test where they took the Ford Mach-E on a road trip, which uses Electrify America chargers, and experience was not ideal.
Range, they had to pull off first, and the car routed them to an Evolve New York charger that was out of order. So with 36 miles on the battery, they had no choice but to head the wrong direction into Vermont to the nearest available charger. They arrived at another charger stop that was also broken. So they navigated for another half hour to find another charger. This turned out to be a barely working trickle charger where it only added 2% to their battery. So they drove another half hour precariously.
Also, Rich Rebuild recently posted a video where he was driving around ranting about how hard it is to find a charger for his Rivian.
Okay, they're doing their best here to put EV chargers at gas stations, but unfortunately, this one does not work, and it's in a very strange place because that's where these cars exit, and these do not work. This is a charge point, and it listed as a. Oh wait, it does work. That does not work at all. So this is the problem. That doesn't work. It says it works, and there's a bag over it. I should have known it doesn't work, and now I'm too embarrassed to to plug it in and slink my way out of here. So now I gotta look like an idiot. So, and no one's really talking about this. This is a dead zone. So if you live anywhere around here, a lot of places on the East Coast aren't really there yet, especially
I'll be pissed if I bought a car and came to find out that the infrastructure is weak and I can't be 100% certain I'll be able to charge my car at a designated supercharger. This would definitely create range anxiety. That's why I highly recommend renting an electric car that you want to buy and live with it for a week. Sure, shelling out $1,000+ renting a car for a week might be a lot, but it's cheaper than buying or leasing a car and being stuck with it for years. It'll allow you to learn the infrastructure that's around your area. If you live in a condo or city area, you might not have a garage to charge your car overnight. So it becomes even more important to see if your local charging stations are packed with people charging their cars in the morning because there's no other charging stations around the areas, or if they're constantly broken, because that will impact your commute and your stress levels. I cannot stress this enough to make sure your electric car has the reliable infrastructure. One pedal driving, what is that? Does that mean there's no brake pedal? There are two pedals, one accelerator pedal and one for brake. But since it's an electric vehicle, you can use regenerative braking, meaning if you lift your foot off the accelerator pedal, the car will slow down on its own and give a tiny bit of energy back to the battery. I've been exclusively driving with just the accelerator pedal, aka one pedal driving. Levels of charging. What do these levels mean? Level 1 means it's a regular home outlet that will take about 40 to 50 hours for you to get your battery up to 80%. Level 2 is a 240 volt system, 4 to 10 hours of charging time. Level 3 is fast charging, 20 minutes to an hour of charging time. So that's what levels of charging mean. What is kilowatt? And these kilowatts have hours? Batteries are essentially the fuel tank of your car. Battery size tells you the range of your car. It's also important to know how efficient your car is. It's like comparing a Honda Civic miles per gallon versus a Hummer. A Civic will likely get 40 miles per gallon, while a Hummer will only get 6 miles per gallon. Same applies here, only with kilowatt hours. I'll link the video in the description because it's an extensive topic. Will temperature fluctuations affect my range? Batteries need to be at an optimum temperature to operate. It has internal controls that regulate the temperature, which means while your car is sitting outside in the cold, it will turn on heating to keep the battery warm, which is using your battery to do this. Same applies to hot weather. Just something to be aware of, that you will have less range on cold or hot days. Same applies with towing something. Since you're dragging weight behind you, you're putting strain on the car to pull, so you'll likely lose more range. What happens if something breaks or I need to do a service on my EV? Ensure your vehicle manufacturer has a good amount of service repair locations in case something goes wrong. Tesla has a handful, and you might have to wait a few weeks or drive really far before being seen by a service station. Read up on incentives available in your state. Familiarize yourself with incentives that were released for 2023 by the Fed. Reach out to your electric company, find out what incentives they offer as well. Find out when off-peak hours start to take advantage of charging your car at a discounted rate. Now I'm going to cover things that are just specific to Tesla. Ensure to get 19-inch wheels for the Model Y. Because this car has a stiff suspensions, there's a lot of reviewers saying that they changed their wheels from 20-inch wheels to 19-inch wheels because the ride was too rough. Same applies to Model 3. Get the standard wheels that come with the car. My wife's parents got the Model 3 and they got the performance wheels, and they said the ride is a bit too rough for their comfort. Plus, kids sometimes get sick quicker if your car is too stiff during long trips. Again, rent the car and see how you like it. Some folks had their Teslas delivered with panel gaps. Over the years, this has gotten better, but these were common issues before. I got lucky, I didn't have any issues with the panel gaps. Latching and unlatching mechanisms for second row seat broke on me within the first 2 months of use. I wish there were mechanical, not like electronically controlled buttons that triggered the latch to unlatch. I had to schedule my appointment in the app to have it serviced. Unfortunately, I had to come into the facility for this type of service. First world problems. When you need to charge at a supercharger, you have to ensure you enter the supercharger destination through the GPS, so it preps the battery for fast charging before you get there. If you do forget, no big deal. The car will tell you it's annoyed by your forgetfulness and it will take about 5 minutes to prep the battery before it actually starts supercharging. Speaking of charging, make sure to loop your charger where it doesn't just hang, otherwise it will disconnect over time and you'll come to your car expecting it to be charged and it's not. Just make sure you have some kind of like support in place to avoid the module from disconnecting disconnecting. Something very important to know, and this only happened to me once, if the screen gets locked, that main screen, and there's nothing is responding, don't panic. Just press and hold the 2 scroll buttons on the steering wheel. That will reset the system. If you're driving and that's happening, the car is still functioning like a car. You can still stop, you can still drive, and then even the turn signals work. You just won't hear them because the system is rebooting. The reboot takes about a good 5 minutes to start back up, but at least it's a relief to know that the car can operate without the main screen. Definitely a nerve-wracking experience. Using your phone as a key through Bluetooth sometimes doesn't work. The fix is to turn off the Bluetooth on your phone and turn it back on. I'd recommend always having your key card on you or in your wallet or your purse, just in case your phone dies or there's an emergency and you want to make sure you get in the car quickly without relying on Bluetooth. I've locked myself out before when my phone died and I went for a run and I had to ask the police officer to charge my phone so I can unlock my car. Be afraid. If you need service on your car, service is not great. When I dropped off my car to be serviced for that seat issue I mentioned earlier, there were no loaner cars available, and they told me it would take 3 days to fix. They did, however, provide a credit, Uber credit of $400 to cover transportation costs, which was nice. But when the 3rd day came, no call. I texted through the app and I called the people, and they finally told me, yes, your car is fixed. So that's the scary problem of owning a car that's for a growing company. There's not enough service stations around, and they're all packed. If you try to book a service that requires you to come into the facility, sometimes you can't book anything until 1 month down the road. Pretty inconvenient. All right, I hope this breakdown helped you folks see what it's like to own an electric vehicles and things to know before you're buying your first EV. If you found this video useful, please subscribe and like this video, and leave a comment on anything I might have misspoken on, or describe your experience of owning an EV.